Welcome back, football fans. Today we've got some breaking news out of Cleveland that could reshape the Browns' wide receiver room heading into training camp. The Browns have made a surprising move, waiving wide receiver Jaelen Gill just days before camp officially kicks off. What does this mean for the Browns? And what about David Bell, who's also dealing with injury setbacks? Stick around as we break down all the latest from Berea. And don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you never miss a beat on all things NFL. Let's start with Jaelen Gill. The Browns signed Gill this past June, bringing him in with hopes that he could compete for a spot on the roster. But now, that opportunity has disappeared. Cleveland announced on Tuesday that Jaelen Gill was waived with a non-football injury designation, a move that puts his immediate future with the team in serious jeopardy. For those who might need a quick refresher, Jaelen Gill went undrafted in last year's NFL draft. He initially signed with the Los Angeles Chargers, but didn't make their 53-man roster, and was eventually released. The Browns picked him up later in the 2024 season, adding him to their practice squad. While Gill's time with the Browns was brief, he did get some reps during off-season activities, including OTAs and minicamp. In a recent interview, he even opened up about the Browns' quarterback room and the offensive changes coming this year. Gill said, and I'm quoting here, "I had a little time with Pickett. I have been with Shedeur and Gabriel for the most part. They are trying to learn this offense like the rest of us. Since it is different this year from what it was, we are all learning together. So far, they are doing a good job. Both are very vocal, executing, and know their stuff. Both have been learning their job. That's some respect for the quarterback situation. But unfortunately for Gill, the non-football injury designation means he won't be competing for a spot this year." So what exactly does a non-football injury designation mean? Essentially, it means that Gill is dealing with an injury that didn't happen during Browns team activities or games. That complicates his path back, as he won't count against the active roster, but also isn't eligible to practice or play until he's cleared medically. For Gill, who's been fighting to establish himself in the NFL after going undrafted and bouncing around practice squads, this is a tough break. The Browns have shown interest in developing him, but this move suggests they're prioritizing other players for their wide receiver depth chart heading into the 2025 season. It also highlights how unforgiving the NFL can be for players on the fringe, especially when injuries derail opportunities before they even start. Now, speaking of wide receivers dealing with injury issues, let's talk about David Bell. The Browns also announced that Bell will begin training camp on the active, non-football injury list. This isn't a great sign, especially considering Bell is coming off hip surgery and didn't participate in OTAs or minicamp this offseason. While Bell has been spotted catching passes from Deshaun Watson during individual workouts at the Browns facility, the fact that he's starting camp on the NFI list means his recovery timeline is still uncertain. For those unfamiliar, the non-football injury list is for players who are hurt outside of official team practices or games. It allows teams to manage injured players who aren't football-related injuries, but still can't play right away. David Bell was selected with the 99th overall pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, coming into Cleveland with high hopes. But over his 3 seasons, Bell has struggled to make a significant impact in the Browns' offense. His numbers tell the story. Just 41 receptions for 408 yards and 3 touchdowns across 3 years. That's not the production Cleveland was hoping for when they drafted him. Last season was especially tough. Bell's campaign was cut short when he suffered a dislocated hip in Week 2 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Before that, the Browns made the strategic decision to waive him in early September, which was timed carefully to reduce the risk of another team claiming him. After clearing waivers, Bell rejoined Cleveland's practice squad and was later elevated to the active roster before that season-ending injury. This hip injury is a significant hurdle. Hip problems can be tricky for wide receivers who rely on speed, agility, and quick cuts. And now with Bell starting camp on the NFI list, it raises questions about how much he'll be able to contribute this season. So with both Jaelen Gill waived and David Bell sidelined at the start of camp, the Browns' wide receiver depth is looking a bit thin heading into the 2025 season. The team already has established names like Amari Cooper and rookie talents like Cedric Tillman. But these moves highlight the challenges Cleveland faces in finding reliable, consistent production beyond their top guys. It also puts extra pressure on the quarterbacks, Deshaun Watson, Shedeur Sanders, and Cade Klubnik, to develop chemistry with the receivers who will be healthy and ready to go when the season begins. Cleveland Browns fans, it's a critical offseason with plenty of questions still to be answered. Will Jaelen Gill be able to recover and fight his way back? Can David Bell bounce back from his hip surgery and become a reliable weapon for the Browns' offense? And how will the quarterback room gel with the evolving offense this year? Only time will tell, but for now, keep your eyes on Berea as training camp unfolds. If you're following along with all the latest Browns news and NFL updates, make sure you smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell to stay in the loop all season long. And hey, drop your thoughts down in the comments. What do you think about the Browns' wide receiver situation? Is there a player you're rooting for to break out this year? Let's get that conversation going. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time with more NFL news and analysis.